Hello again, and welcome back. Thank you again for clicking in. Just had a few thoughts over the last couple, well, had a lot of thoughts over the last couple of days through talking with people and just general chit chat. And some people have given me fantastic ideas, and oh my god, such amazing stuff is coming from you. So please keep them coming. They're so valuable, and I really appreciate them. But just something I just wanted to mention, just in relation to mental health, and I'm very aware I feel like I'm picking on a particular organisation. I'm generally not, because I understand how big wheels, these big cogs turn, and they're so slow, and they rely on government approval and such, and it's just such a bloody nightmare. I can imagine what it'd be like to be working in them, as an administrator, as someone that's trying to implement some kind of change. So this is absolutely not a dig at anyone. I know I'm a kind of attacking managers. I'm not attacking managers. I'm attacking bad managers. And when I say attacking, I mean in the gentlest form, as in I'm exposing you. I'm exposing your vulnerability. I'm exposing your weaknesses. I'm showing the world that you are not a bad person, that you are a person, if that's fair. Okay, so I'm not out to destroy anyone's reputation, and that I'd love to see change. I'd love to see a lot more implemented stuff to protect mental health in all jobs. I was hired recently to give a talk to a private industry on it was around death and dying and bereavement and stress and all this kind of stuff that goes among this. And that one small company, no, when I say small, it's smaller than the companies I'd have worked in, but it's essentially a small company, treated their staff better in a private industry than I've ever seen any other company treat anyone. They focused primarily on not on production, not on output, on staff care, on staff. How do we protect our staff was their number one. Whoever's at the top of that really cares about their staff. So they made sure that I'd come in and we talked it through and offered sessions if they needed it. And there was a lot of stuff, really good protection there. And then when you consider the huge companies, and you can argue it's like the small local shop versus the McDonald's or versus the huge big multinational companies, Coca-Cola, etc., all these kind of things coming in. And the differences in how we are, because one moves so slow because it's so big and one can move quicker. But the fact remains that in a few companies now that I've been contacted about, and one that I've been involved with directly, they advertise that they're family friendly. You can't advertise nationally that you're a family friendly organisation if your staff are working, if their contracted hours are 12-hour shifts and they're working up to 16-hour shifts, and then they're not getting the proper time off and the proper rests. You can't advertise family friendly. You can't advertise family friendly if you're completely against any form of offering of part-time work to mothers and fathers. There are people in your employ who are mothers and fathers who want to spend time with their families, who want to go home, and you're directly preventing them from doing this. And I'll take my case. I put in for part-time work with my colleague. We both applied for part-time work. We were going to work on the same line, and so we would have done the same roster but shared it, so it would have been split between two. And this sat on a desk of a manager and was never even acknowledged. Never looked at, never acknowledged, just ignored. And essentially, they lost two staff. Unfortunately, my partner died prematurely. Nothing to do with the job, but I just had enough. So, and this is my example, and I know there are other people who've approached me who are just tired, they're just exhausted, they're burnt out. They'd be happy to continue in the job, half the hours. And maybe after a year doing half hours, they could re-energise and get that strength back in themselves, get their mental health look after their families. Maybe they just want to raise the families to a certain point. We want to get them to primary school where they're going to longer classes, or maybe into secondary school, this kind of stuff. But to be completely against the support of staff who want to continue working but at less hours is hugely wrong in my opinion. So I really think, I hope this touches and reaches the people that need to see this, because you're going to lose a lot of, let's just call a spade, you have lost an incredible amount of really, really valuable staff, really good staff who are just tired and burnt out and don't want to be told, no, we don't care about your family, because that's what's been heard. So you might say, no, we don't have the staff. But the person's coming to you very clearly saying, well, if I don't get this, I can't continue. So your hard line approach is not working. And you, particularly, are responsible for the downfall of your organisation. So you're losing, hand over fist, you're losing the people who are walking out every single day. All right, so first of all, you're losing really valuable people. You're also losing very, very high skills. And no disrespect to the people coming up, but you're replacing very skilled, very experienced, very, very good people with people really equally as qualified, as trained, but not as experienced. So you're losing that skill. There is no skill mix anymore. So what's actually happening is when people are calling for help on their worst day, they're getting the lowest common denominator. Not no disrespect intended to the lads that are going out, because yours are actually excellent in what you do. But my point is, you'll miss things, and that's just part of it. That's why there was always a skill mix of a junior senior kind of thing. But the thing really needs to be looked at within these organisations is, big part of mental health is protecting the people who want to be with their families, who want their time off, who need their time off. Let's face it, you need your time off, you need your downtime. But I've looked at people now, and I've been talking to people who are just absolutely exhausted. They're like corpses just walking, and they're just burnt out, and they just can't. They're telling me, I can't keep going like this. And that's not just one person. That's everyone I've spoken to in the last while. So if everyone I've spoken to in the last while is telling me I can't keep going on like this, and their employer is saying, you'll do what I tell you, and I don't care about your family, who do you think is going to lose? So I really do urge you, and I appeal to you to please look, where can you help? And honestly answer that question that you're putting out there. We are family friendly. We are a family friendly organisation. You're not a family friendly. So let's become a family friendly organisation. Let's become a person centred organisation. Your job is to go out there and look after people. And if that's within a nursing environment, if that's within an ambulance, within the fire service, if it's within, this kind of stuff, I think a lot of them think that it's like, if you do job sharing, you'd work to 1 o'clock and then that's you finished. You'd continue doing your shifts, just change your shifts. And I highlighted this to them, to my managers, and it was absolutely, completely ignored. So not only is that unfair to ever ignore an employee who comes to you with a request, but it's absolutely rude to ignore their needs in their own life. Just because you're being petty or whatever, or maybe you don't know your job. And if you don't know your job, you shouldn't be in the job, because I'm very aware there are a lot of managers in this one particular organisation who shouldn't manage, who should not be managing people at all. So there's other things as well around the promotion of mental health. So as I said in earlier videos, that like if you have people, you're going to have mental health problems. And I was told recently a story of a young man who went to his manager and said he'd had a particularly bad call, and he'd said, I don't think I can go on at this, that's very hard. And the manager's reply to that person was, that's the job you signed up for. That's not compassion, lads. Yes, it might be the job you signed up for, and honestly, it's difficult. I've been in it, I worked in it for 18 years. It's difficult. There are days where I was collapsed in a heap, crying, so upset that I couldn't do anything more. That's the job I signed up for. But if my manager honestly had said to me, that's the job you signed up for, I think he'd honestly be missing a few teeth at the time, because I wasn't in the frame of mind to go, okay, thank you for, that's a very, very patronizing, very condescending kind of attitude. And clearly that manager shouldn't be in a management position ever. So the higher ups, the people that make the decisions, please audit your management structure. Please look at where the failures are, because believe me, there's lots. There's a lot of failures in your management structure. And it's not saying, I'm not trying to shame you here, I'm not trying to call you out. I'm stating a fact. You're going to be responsible for the suicides. You're going to be responsible for the people leaving the job. And when the newspaper article which came out recently states we're losing a lot of people because COVID had a detrimental effect on staff. No, it didn't. COVID had the same effect on staff as it has on every single other person in the country. It crippled them. It made them see how difficult life is. And you had to build yourself back after COVID. There's no change with that. The point is, you who have a duty of care to your employees have failed. So it's now time to go back to the books, stop trying to colour in pictures outside the lines, and look at the people that you're meant to be managing. And please manage them, but manage them better and look after their mental health. Anyway, that's my rant. But as you can see, I'm very passionate about mental health. I'm very passionate about that it is being ignored in today's job industry. And I don't know why, because when we lose all our staff, the staff that's going to be left are going to be overwhelmed, and they're not going to be able to cope, and then it's going to be on the management. So you're going to lose your jobs eventually, lads. So this is, if it's about self-interest, this is how you protect yourself too. Thank you very much for watching.